What's going on, my Absolute Tarot family? This is the Absolute Tarot channel. I'm CaraSeen, your personal reader. Today we got 15 myths about tarot debunked. That's right, we got common myths about tarot. We're going to reveal, we're going to debunk them. We're going to look at why the tarot is so shrouded in mystery and magic. Oh, why sometimes some people fear tarot readers and tarot cards. Man, there's been so many times that people are like, no, I'm fine. I don't want a reading. I'm good. They're just like, they're really quite frightened about the cards. Maybe what they're going to say or what they don't want to hear. I'm not quite sure. But maybe some of these myths that we're going to debunk here today will help alleviate any stress or anxieties you have around tarot reading. Anyway, my friends, let's get started and let's have some fun. Okay, we have 15 myths about tarot debunked. Number 1 is fortune telling. Tarot is fortune telling. Tarot readers are fortune tellers. No, we are not. And no, the cards are not. The cards cannot predict the future. Like, there's some very talented and gifted readers out there that use their sight, their extra senses, their mediumship, and they're able to bring that into the cards. But there's some also incredibly gifted individuals that have an immense talent for interpreting the cards as well. So it's not a fortune telling. The cards don't reveal the future. It's more like seeking help, advice, clarity, a focus, taking something from the past to help out with your present. It's going to give you an opportunity to take stock of where you are in your life and find clarity if necessary. So it is not a fortune telling because they do not and cannot reveal the future. And number 2, only psychics can read the tarot. Absolutely not true. Even though some gifted psychics use tarot as a tool to help guide them and guide their clients along their journey and their readings, but with careful study, strong intuition, having some fun, a little self-knowledge, you can learn to read the cards for yourself. You don't have to be spiritual, you don't have to be psychic, you don't have to have gifts, an empath. So no, you do not have to be psychic to read cards. And next up is number 3. Tarot cards are magic. Hate to burst anybody's bubble there, or if someone's feeling a little bit uncomfortable truth for anyone who believes the cards are innate magical powers that they have. But honestly, they're just paper. They're just ink, and I could use anything in my surroundings. Grabbing 3 things in my surroundings right now. I found 3 different stones, a citrine, rose quartz, and amethyst. I went to a reader one time that I got to put my hand in a giant bowl of rock, these little mini rock chips, rainbows, colors, and she asked me to pull out a certain number of stones, and she did a reading for me through the stones. So it's whatever the reader is using that spirit can talk through them, and how they will best interpret their cards and the best way to answer your questions to help you find any clarity and advice. That basically the cards' power lies in how they're read and how they're interpreted. They don't have a life of their own. They don't have any secrets, and they won't betray you. So no, cards, the cards are not magic. And come to number 4. Number 4, sometimes I have to deal with at least a couple times a week. Sometimes I just get trolled on my live shows. People wondering and proclaiming, accusing. It's kind of entertaining. I didn't mean to all rhyme there, but number 4 is the tarot cards have nothing to do with the devil. They are not satanic, they are not Satanish, they are not deep, dark, occultish. They may be metaphysical, they may be part of an occult, if you want to put it that way, or the occult, but they're a divination tool. And you could use like anything. You could use charms for a divination tool. You could use cards. You can use a normal playing deck with a playing cards like you play poker with. You know, you can tell a reading with that as well. But this, it has nothing to do with the devil. I promise you. The devil and no demons are coming in. They're not giving us messages to relay the wrong messages to people. Because you can feel those energies when they're coming in. And it's not a bad energy come at all. So no, the tarot cards have nothing to do with Satanism or the devil. No black magic either. So we're good there. And number 5, tarot readings are 100% accurate. No. No, they're not. And I'm a tarot reader, and I'm a medium and psychic. And I still know that they are not 100% true and accurate. The reason is because there's so many things in the tarot that are opened up to interpretation, either by the reader or by the seeker. And you can change the outcome of the prediction by making different decisions in your life. And that's why you cannot predict the future, because there's so many possible outcomes. Treat your reading as more like a guide. Remember that you have choices. It might give you some insight, some clarity, some advice, but if you don't like what your reader sees, use it as an opportunity to make some changes. Because that is what spirit, no matter what type of divination tool that your reader uses, it's what the spirit is coming through and what they're interpreting, what they're seeing, and that's the messages for you at that time. We don't always like what we hear. But that's the message that comes through. So sometimes some messages we just have to chew on for a little bit longer. So are tarot readings 100% accurate? No, again, because things are so open up to interpretation. And we have number 6, is readers must follow certain rituals. No. That's another one, definitely doesn't need to happen. You don't always have to cut with your left hand. You don't always have to shuffle with your right hand. You don't always have to spread out this way. You don't always have to walk in the doorway walking backwards. You don't always have to wrap your cards in a certain material. You don't have to not read on these days, but only read on these days. You must never read twice in a month for a person. You know, there's just so many different rules out there, and it's just all comes down to exactly is what you are comfortable with, what you as a reader personally resonate with. The one thing that I think that should happen in a ritual is you're always clearing, smudging the cards in between each reading, because you can get a residual energy, like it feels like it's sticky. It feels like it sticks to the cards, or you can actually shuffle and you can feel the cards are heavy if you didn't do it. So that's one thing I do is between each reading, I guess I would be considered a ritual of sorts, is that I smudge my cards and I clear off any energy, not negative energy, just the last person's energy, and I get ready for the vibe of the new energy coming into the cards. So I don't believe, this is my personal opinion, but I don't believe readers need to follow a certain ritual. There's so many different ways to shuffle, how to shuffle. Sometimes women's hands are too tiny and you can't shuffle the cards like other people. So you have to shuffle it the length way, the long way, or you spread it all out and you mess it all out. Do whatever you want, because it's what you are doing when you're drawing in that energy. It's how either spirit tells you to do it or you just feel it feels good. And go with that, and that's all that's important. And number 7, the cards must be gifted to you. Well, poop. What if you don't have any friends that read tarot, or know that you like tarot, or maybe you're keeping it quiet that you like tarot? You might not ever get a deck. I've never had a deck that's been bought for me except for my daughter at Christmas time. But I've been reading tarot for like over 20 years, and I've bought all my own decks. Yeah. I'd say 80%, 90% of the decks I've bought. So they don't have to be gifted to you for your first deck. Because sometimes, like, how are you ever going to get started? And I also find right now there are so many hundreds of decks out there that it's so personal, and some decks just jump right out and pick you. So I find it's a personal experience, a touch picking your first deck is exciting. And number 8 is no one can touch your cards. Well, I think that may have been a belief maybe in the past, but realistically, sometimes some readers allow their clients to pick the cards or shuffle the cards. They're putting their energy in the deck. As long as you smudge between each reading, you're clearing the energy out, knocking on the deck, shuffling the deck, rocking your energy in there. It's I don't think I'd have to really worry about it. I do have some decks, however, I don't really like people touching. I don't know if their hands are clean. I don't really like people touching my decks, unless the readers themselves. I have some decks that I actually have in a silk pouch, because it's actually my first deck I've ever owned, and I don't touch it at all. I don't want anybody else touching it either. I have a deck that's worth $175 and nobody touches it. I don't even have that. I don't even want sunlight to touch it. So it's put away and it's in a special place. So I think it's more so ask permission first before touching someone's deck. Always, always, always ask, even if they're your best friend, even if you've touched other decks before of theirs, ask every single time, do you mind if I have permission to look at your deck? And sometimes people just want to enjoy the artwork on the deck. They're not going to be going around and messing with you or anything like that. So I believe that anyone can touch your cards, just be respectful of it. And number 9. Number 9 is cards must be wrapped in silk or a special cloth. That is not true. It was once upon a time where silk was actually very rare. So it believed it had the ability to clean and protect the cards, and so no one could change the energy of the deck. Now we do realize that a lot of new school readers are very interactive with their clients and interactive with different types of decks and not just one deck. So not everybody wraps up their cards, or some people keep all their cards, put it back in the box every single time. It goes on their bookshelf, all the special boxes, all the special things. I made my own tarot tower, and I have all my cards displayed because I use them every day. So take them in and out of the box would actually start to wreck the box. I've actually kept my boxes, but those ones are put away. I do have some that are in special pouches. I really don't think it has to be wrapped in a special cloth. Maybe if you have one deck and it's kind of a ritual you like to do, how you like to open up the cloth every time you smudge, you do your thing. When I only had a couple decks, I did have an altar cloth I used. Now I have so many decks that it just wouldn't make sense to me, so I don't even think about putting in a cloth now. So it's just more your personal preference, but it definitely doesn't have to be in a silk cloth. It doesn't have to be in a special cloth. It is nice to wrap them in a cloth when you put them underneath your pillow to get more of the energies into your deck. Different things for different ways. Anyway, so the cards don't have to be wrapped in anything absolutely special. It's just however you wish to store them or present them or showcase them. And number 10, that you're not allowed to read tarot for yourself. How are you going to learn? How are you going to learn if you don't read some tarot for yourself? Tarot has become more of a self-help, a guidance tool in this new school, new age industry here. I find that pulling a daily card or 3 daily card for a little advice, focus, outcome, past, present, future influence on the day. One card pull, you could meditate on it, work with that card, learn with that card. I'm going to be having a video coming up with just making a tarot journal, so you can just put in your meanings of the cards. I believe reading for yourself and learning to read for yourself is a very important tool to help you become a better reader. It also gives you just some, it's like some insights. And some you can get a quick answer. You don't have to elaborate. You just lay down some cards like, oh. Okay, fine, I'm listening. You know, you can have a little fun with tarot. Not only reading for your friends and family, but reading for yourself is a really good way to grow your tools. Now, don't forget to also get readings from a professional reader. They're going to give you different insight, different tools, different knowledge, different ways to read it. It'll give you different inspiration, even hearing from another reader or hearing from a professional reader for yourself. You can always confirm, validate, verify, clarify when someone gives you a reading. But don't always go to a whole bunch of readers and ask the same question. You may just ask one reader to clarify your cards if you're just starting out. So we all kind of need that validation sometimes, or clarity. So read for yourself, have fun, pull a daily card, daily meditation on a card. Heck yeah. All right, number 11, that readings must be done in person. Now, not at all. Because readings can be done remotely. Readings can be done across the world. Readings can be done through video conference calls, Zoom readings, messengers. They can be done recorded private readings, videos that the reader will be able to tap into your energy and give you a reading, record it, and send you the video link. And due to COVID times, we can't always be in person. So we've had to kind of like work with Zoom, work with other means like that. And that's to help explore and expand our business as tarot readers. We've had to really open up the doors, and we can't just say, open up our home doors and open up an office there and expect people to come there, because during COVID times, maybe you don't want people in your home. Maybe people don't want to come to your home. So over the internet, FaceTime is a wonderful way to do readings too. So readings do not have to be done in person to make them work. The reader can definitely tap into your energy, and anybody else you're talking about or asking about, they can tap into those energies with the guidance of spirits and the oracle and tarot cards. So it's really, really cool that way. So you can definitely get a reading that is not in person. Okay, number 12, readings must be shuffled by the client and must be picked. The cards must be picked by the client. Well, how would remote readings been able to take place? During COVID times, you're reading for someone across the world. I read for people all over the world all the time. I can do on a Zoom meeting, a remote reading. I can do a FaceTime. I can meet with them on MSN Messenger. There's so many different ways. Facebook platforms is a really amazing way too. You have your own groups, your websites, everything. YouTube, where are we talking on right now? The YouTube platform. So readings do no longer have to be done in person. They definitely can be remote, and they've always been that way, because what about the psychic numbers that you can call? The tarot readers that you can call on the phone. They're laying down cards. They're tapping into your energy while you're on the phone. It definitely can be done remotely. So cards do not have to be shuffled or picked by the client. If you are getting a reading in person, let's say at a psychic fair, a venue, their home, wherever, and they do spread out the cards and you pick your card, that is totally cool too. Or you just sit there and you're watching and you're not interacting, they're shuffling, cards are flying out, they're picking the cards for you, that works too. However, it just depends on the reader. Each reader is different, and it's just what they're comfortable with. So there's no right or wrongs at all. Number 13, common misconception is that you must memorize all 78 tarot cards or all your oracle cards that you have before you give a reading. That's a lot of pressure. What happened to intuition? What happened to some like old school reading just with some fun stuff and reading the symbols and colors and all the dynamic of the beautifulness on the card? Sometimes some of the best readers have never memorized a card in their life. They're reading pure on intuition and what the card is telling them. They're putting themselves in the card and they're telling a story. So you do not have to learn all the cards. Even if you want to use a book, if you want to read out of the book or a cheat sheet while you're giving a reading to a friend or family, they're understanding you're just learning. As you're learning more of the cards, you won't have to look it up as much. You won't have to refer to your book or cheat sheet as much the more you practice. So my main thing that I used to do was my morning meditation with a card. I'd pick 3 cards, advice, focus, outcome for that day, and I'd have my feelings on it, my interpretation on it, keywords, and then I'd have a little space for it at the end of the day where I would reflect on to see what else had come up. Like, oh, now I know why I got those cards. Now I understand. And I put the feelings on there. Or I'd look it up in a book to confirm to see if my feelings, my interpretation was right. So you do not have to learn all the card meanings before giving a reading. Just like your friends will totally understand that you're new at this and you're trying it out. And however you rock your reading is going to be your method, and just have fun with it and go with it. And number 14, reverse cards means something bad is going to happen. Oh goodness, no. There's really no good cards and no bad cards in the deck. They are just knowledge and information to help you navigate around a question or a situation. Now, reverse cards, sometimes there is a positive or a negative or a light, a dark to a card, but it all depends on the reader and how they interpret it. I could get the 10 of Swords in reverse. Now, straight up, that means like rock bottom, like some serious painful endings are happening. Turn that around, and that means a recovery. It means a new beginnings. It means something is starting afresh. So it depends. So not all reverse cards are negative. Not all bad cards that look bad are a negative aspect, which leads me to the next. And number 15, the death card doesn't mean you're going to die. The death card does not mean, it doesn't mean there's going to be a death in your family, someone close to you. It doesn't mean that at all. Death is actually a new beginning. It is rebirth. It is transformation. But it only happens after something has finished. So a rebirth, something new is coming. So some endings are happening. Some big changes are happening. So like again, the death card doesn't mean that there's going to be a loss in your life of any kind. Not going to be a death to your job or death to a friend or death to you. It's actually a great card to receive. Again, cards are to your own interpretation. Anyway, my friend, thank you so very much for checking out with me with the 15 myths about tarot debunked. If you have any other myths that you know about, please write it down in the comment down below. Throw me down what maybe rituals that you do. Maybe there's something that you do that is a ritual or become a ritual. Or maybe you've let go of some rituals and you realize you don't do them anymore, that you just lay down the cards and have some fun right away. Or you have your own little routine that you like to do before you get started. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so very much for chilling out with me, and I'll see you in my next video.